In the summer of 1981, Disney Pictures released the comedy superhero movie Condorman. It was produced on a respectable budget of $14 million, but bombed at the box office on release, costing Disney a reported $9.5 million loss. However, over time, and despite disappearing for over 30 years, the movie and the character has gained a cult following, and has seen several releases on home media. The screenplay, written by Mark Sturdivant, is based on the novel The Game of X by Robert Sheckley, whose novel Immortality Inc. was the basis for another box office bomb, Free Jack, starring Mick Jagger and Emilio Estevez in 1992.
Free Jack.
The movie is directed by Charles Jarrett, who directed Disney's The Last Flight of Noah's Ark, starring Elliot Gould, in 1980. He went on to have a long career working in TV, on drama productions and TV movies. Condorman has a small but solid cast. Michael Crawford stars as Woody Wilkins, a comic book artist responsible for the character Condorman. Michael, of course, is famous for his role as the man-child Frank Spencer in the BBC hit comedy Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, in which he amazingly performed all his own stunts. After Condorman, Crawford made a name as a seriously talented performer on Broadway in Andrew Lloyd Webber's colossal success The Phantom of the Opera. Barbara Carrera plays the defecting KGB agent Natalia and the love interest of Woody. She had starred opposite Michael York in The Island of Dr. Moreau in 1977. She went on to play a real Bond girl in Never Say Never Again with Sean Connery, when he returned to the role one last time in 1983. British acting legend Oliver Reed plays Sergei Krokov, the head of the KGB, who is desperate to stop Natalia from defecting. Oliver had an amazing career, notably starring in The Curse of the Werewolf in 1961, and in the musical Oliver, and the Richard Lester Musketeer movies. Like many acting greats, he was notoriously difficult to work with, and later in his career appeared drunk on several chat shows. He nicknamed Crawford the Feathered Fart on set, after he refused to have a drink with him one evening. He unfortunately passed away whilst filming Ridley Scott's epic Gladiator in 1999 at the age of 61. James Hampton stars as Woody's CIA agent friend Harry. James has had a long career playing likeable characters and starred in the forgotten movie Hangar 18 in 1980, but most will recognise him for playing Michael J. Fox's dad in Teen Wolf from 1985. The stunning soundtrack is composed by Henry Mancini. He had a very successful career, notably composing for movies such as Breakfast at Tiffany's, the 1980s cult classic Life Force, and his most famous work, the theme for the Pink Panther. I'm confident that's not the only link to the Blake Edward movies starring Peter Sellers, who plays the bumbling Inspector Clouseau, as you can definitely see influences in the character Woody, and especially in the disguises he uses. Now, it may be hard to imagine for modern audiences, but Disney hasn't always been the powerhouse it is today. With the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Star Wars franchise and its very successful partnership with Pixar. The non-traditional family-friendly movies weren't as successful as Disney staples like Mary Poppins, or The Cat from Outer Space, or the Herbie series. They had several misfires, such as The Black Hole from 1979, which was produced as a reaction to the success of Star Wars, and of course Tron, which was released in 1982, and also bombed on release. Some of the issues here is the fact that Disney as a brand wasn't cool, because of its wholesome family image, and I'm sure this put the older kids off seeing these movies. Having grown up during this time, I remember that sense very well. This combined with the beating Condorman received from the critics didn't help its box office results. Now, there are obviously faults here. The plot is paper thin and doesn't develop the characters. We never really learn why Natalia is so valuable to both sides and why the CIA would spend so much on Woody's demands to help her defect. There's no real threat or terrorist event to add any danger. The plot simply serves as a device to show Condorman's tech and gadgets. The movie suffers with some frankly embarrassing blue screen effects, which is very confusing as the special effects were managed by Colin Chilvers, who had worked on both Superman 1 and 2. And the same flying rig that was used by Christopher Reeve were adjusted for Michael Crawford and were filmed at Pinewood Studios. Maybe they spent all the budget on the action sequences, who knows. I'm guessing that a lot of the audio dialogue was re-recorded in post-production, as this is notable in Michael's often hammy American accent. One thing I do remember when I was a kid was being quite frustrated by the disposability of the gadgets, especially the Condormobile, which was actually a British kit car, a Sterling Nova. This model was also used in Roger Corman's B-movie Death Race 2000. However, despite these issues, Condorman is still a fun, nostalgic trip, thanks to the fantastic score by Henry Mancini. This is definitely not a cut and paste score, especially the opening Condorman theme and the love theme for Natalia, with great action set pieces that were all done practically, with very little done in post-production, such as the car chase with the henchman Morovich and his team of deadly assassins, and their stunning black Porsches, and of course the memorable boat chase in the finale, all married by the use of real locations, straight out of a Bond movie, such as Paris, Switzerland and Monte Carlo, all captured by the beautiful cinematography by Charles F. Wheeler. Crawford delivered a very memorable performance, and it's definitely used his skills for comedic timing and daring stunts, having nearly drowned when he fell into the River Seine after the jump from the famous Eiffel Tower, as he was dragged down the stream, but was ready to redo the shot straight after, much to the amazement of director Charles Jarrett. Now, there is a real nostalgic love of this movie and the character. He regularly turns up in cosplay at Comic Cons and appeared briefly in the Pixar short Toy Story Small Fry as a forgotten Happy Meal toy. Fans have been hopeful for a reboot, and talks have been bouncing around since 2012, and many have been asking for the character to be included in the MCU. I could definitely see this working, as comedy and action can work, as seen recently in the movies like Ant-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy series. It's funny, as a kid I wasn't aware of the box office failures, and we really enjoyed this movie upon its release. We knew it wasn't perfect and watched it several times on home video, but we always wondered why the promised sequel was not produced, as it would have been great to see Crawford reprise the role and watch Condorman grow into a bona fide superhero spy, and Disney was so confident that they had already greenlit the sequel before the movie's release, but this was obviously scrapped after the poor box office. Maybe just because the world wasn't ready for this style of hero, especially as Superman had been so successful recently. Dare I say, it could have been ahead of its time. Now, as successful movies are usually measured on their impact on pop culture, Condorman may not have exploded at the box office, but I do see traits of the character in Inspector Gadget, and Tim Burton did work for Disney, so was this shot from Batman Returns influenced by this movie? Who knows, but it's fun to think it is. I'm hopeful that Condorman will one day return. Until then, you can continue to enjoy this underrated and loved but also flawed kids classic, as it's definitely time for the future generations to enjoy. Who?
Who can save Princess Juliet? Held captive by the evil Count Lorca? Who can save the city? Who?
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Please hit the bell notification to keep up to date with all my content, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, thanks a lot and thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you guys soon.